Let me dive into my discussion at this hour. Joining me on the show is cricket commentator Charu Sharma, former Indian cricketer Yajurvendra Singh. Welcome to the show, both of you. Yajurvendra, they are meeting under completely different set of circumstances. The spotlight, would you say, will more be on Rahul Dravid this time around than Rohit Sharma?
Definitely, because this is his debut for at least the main India side. But let's not take it away. I mean, away from him, he's not the main person in this whole drama. It is Rohit Sharma and his team that will have to perform. Dravid is there to direct them, and I'm sure he'll do a great job. He's done that in the past with the youngsters. So although we all may feel, that Dravid is into this situation, but I don't think so. I don't think that's the key element in this at all.
Charu, would you say for Rohit Sharma, this is going to be an organic transition since he has led the Mumbai Indians side and led it very successfully?
I suppose you could call it that. Of course, your connectivity, by the way, is a little weak. I hope you can hear me well enough. Yeah, he's obviously the man for the job in a short-term sense, because the country keeps looking for somebody who can captain for a longer time in the absence now or the resignation now of Virat Kohli. So I don't think there's going to be any real pressure on Rohit Sharma. One, of course, he's a very seasoned player. Two, he's a seasoned captain. And three, he knows that his captaincy is not there for a very long time. He's not on test to find out whether he can captain for the next 5-7 years or not. So in a sense, and of course, he's at home. So everything's working really well for Rohit Sharma, and he might come out, glowing after this, because India at home under Rohit or whoever else is likely to do very well.
Since you said he is there for limited time, do you see him captain India only till 2023?
Well, at least for the next 1 year. I don't know what his long-term plans are. And of course, his form also has to remain there because, he's, I suppose, a shoo-in for white ball cricket. But suppose something should go wrong, I think the selectors will once again look to younger blood, in which case Rohit will have to keep a very high level of consistency. But yeah, 2 years is not very much at all. We are excessively harsh on those who are of later age. But as long as he's fit, he can play till 40, I suppose. Many people have.
Well, Yajurvendra, talking about this contest between India and New Zealand, would you say that revenge will be on their minds tonight because they are just not able to get one over the New Zealanders, or the team should look at this as an opportunity to experiment and build a new side?
For us, it is definitely to experiment and build a new side before the next World Cup. But yeah, for the New Zealanders, I do feel sad for them flying all the way from Dubai to Jaipur. They are a tired lot. I'm sure they are a tired lot. So we are all ready to actually take the revenge. But more than the revenge, I think we have to now sit down and actually work out a systematic plan before the next World Cup. So youngsters should be given a chance, and so should basically the batting order, and the people should be. One has to finalize on that before the next World Cup, and I think these are the great opportunities now for India to do that.
Charu, yesterday during the press conference, Rohit Sharma spoke about assigning roles. Do you think it's feasible for an individual to have a specific role across franchise, international and domestic cricket?
Well, theoretically, yes. But in the same breath, a lot of people keep talking about flexibility as well. And to my mind, to be a little more flexible is far more worthwhile or what is required from players rather than be rigid about their roles. In general terms, of course, so you've got to take all your catches and you've got to, make it count when you bat and you've got to bowl tight. All those are general rules. But, you can't say I'm a number 3 and why am I number 5 and that's why I'm failing. So I think there's a lot to be said for flexibility. Remember when there's a situation now, Sunny talked about it, and you too, that many others may be tried, in which case you may be tried in different positions. So you've got to be very flexible. I think therein lies the value and worth of a true professional.
Yajurvendra, I would also like you to come in here to talk to us about cricketers being given specific roles by the team. Do you see that is the kind of template that these two men, Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma, are looking at?
This is what the modern cricketers or modern managers and coaches aspire to do. But I think what Charu said is very correct. Because in T20, you have to be flexible. There is no way you can just say that I'm going to do this role. You may have to be, you may be a hard hitter, but if your team is in trouble, you have to change that role. And that's where I think there's a lot of disharmony between the coaches and the players and the people as well who are watching. Because people are not thinking now when they're playing cricket. The cricketers are not thinking for themselves because they've suddenly been given a role. Like, for example, a fast bowler is told to bowl a slower one, a slow bouncer, a yorker, different ones. And he has to do all these things in an over. And that's what he has been told to do. But sometimes it's not necessary. You can bowl 5 yorkers, as a matter of fact, or 3 slower ones. But they're analyzing all this. And I think that's where there's a lot of confusion between cricketers themselves, when they go into play. I found that among the Indian side this time as well.
Now let's talk about the Kiwis, Charu. How tough will it be for them to lift themselves given that they landed in India almost 24 hours after having lost that high-profile clash against the Australians, and in 72 hours they have to play another match?
Well, there are a few things that can be said for the Kiwis in terms of consistency. One, they will always be tough. They're very tough on the field. 2, they're always uncomplaining. Generally, in terms of international sides, they're the least complaining side. I think they'll hit the ground running. They've had a very good run at the World Cup. You could argue that they're a little disappointed, but they can come here and away wins are always special. So teams lift themselves for away wins, and I can't see why the Kiwis wouldn't. Both teams are missing key players. You mentioned that at the top, and I think that's also even. The big advantage, of course, is India, because you have players who are far more used to Indian conditions, but the Kiwis are not going to lie back and say, well, we are tired and, it's a new country and a new phase, a new time zone. They will hit the ground running as they always have every single match around the world.
Yajurvendra, I'll have to ask you this. Without Kane Williamson, are they less potent? Though Rohit Sharma disagrees, but he could be diplomatic. But what do you think?
No, definitely. Not only as a leader, but also as a batsman. How can you be the same team without your best player and your best leader? So, but one has to go past that. Even they are going to be experimenting, and they need to, because you can't depend on one player all throughout in a cricket match as such. So it's a good thing for them as well. But naturally, India will miss Virat Kohli, by the way, as well. So, and Bumrah. So it's the same. You have to sometimes play when they are not there and go beyond that and not think about it.
Interesting phase of experimentation for both the teams as India take on New Zealand in a 3-match T20 series. That the first of those happened tonight. The match starts at 7 p.m. Thank you very much, Charu and Yajurvendra, for joining me on the broadcast this evening.